I like to make part twos because sometimes I get in the flow and then sometimes I kind of like say I could have said this and whatnot. But check this out. So people talk about they're being tracked if they get the microchip inserted in them. See, this is what you don't realize. You have to really, you're creating everything out here based on scenario, people, places, and things, and how you react. You'll create that environment. So if the opposition is stronger than you because you think it's stronger than you, then it will take over you, okay? So you can have certain emotions that are negative. Use those as guides and figure out why it's happening. And then you put yourself in the driver's seat to take control and make a change. Make up your mindset, or it will be controlled for you. The mind is all, okay? So what's happening out here is just a projection of how you see things. So there's people who are scared to death. They're going outside, putting masks on. I go outside and I don't see it like that, but I also don't judge the people that are in that position. The more I change the way I see things, believe it or not, the less and less people I'm seeing with masks. See, if I'm going outside pissed off that people are having masks on and I see people as weak and pathetic and whatnot, that's an aspect of myself I would have to fucking work on and change. So check this out. The more people I'm going to see with masks and the more I'm going to get triggered because it's actually coming from me. And that's what you're not seeing. This pandemic, if it's making you feel fearful, then you're not in an empowered state. You need to put yourself in that empowered state. Nobody's going to put you there but you. Are you going to cry and complain about the fact that things don't look a favorable way for you? You can change that. But it's about, the most important thing is how do you react to it? You get what I'm saying? You're reacting a certain way, then you're weak. And it's not to say, fuck, I do react that way and feel bad about yourself. You can, in the now moment, you can listen to this and make that change right away. And keep that focus on that thought that you say, I am the empowered source. Look at this. Why do you think they promote so much on the media? They promote so much on the media is because your attention is what's keeping that empowered. But don't forget, again, you created this. You created that opposition. But don't forget, what the opposition is proposing to you, you didn't create. Just like you have free will, everybody has free will. And if you're coming out here thinking that you're a truth seeker and then crying about getting your information banned from YouTube, understand that YouTube is for you, not for you to expose anybody else out there. Because a truth seeker is a truth seeker from within, not a truth seeker from without. So if you're seeking truth outside, you're looking in the wrong place. So that's why they're banning you. Because they're like, yo, this is not your information. This is not your truth. This is official, authentic information. Look at the C word for the virus that we have going around. That's patented. You don't own that. So you don't have any right to talk about it because you don't know what the hell's going on. It could be way different than what you would think it is. But don't forget, one person may see that situation happening as something that's going to kill them, and somebody may see it as something that's going to empower them. Me, for example, I see that as an upgrade. I see that as my body needs that. And right now we're in the age of the rat. Okay? So right now, what do they do with rats? They experiment on rats. So be the rat. Rats are sneaky. Okay? But rats are very, very, they're surviving creatures. I mean, you could put them in the most extreme environments and they'll survive. So embody the rat. This is the year of the rat. Now, look at the movie Ratatouille, that cartoon. The rat was in the chef's hat, and the guy doesn't know how to cook, but he was the owner of the restaurant's son. But that rat was the one pulling the strings from inside the hat, which is symbology for that shit taking over and making shit happen for you. People look at rats and they're like, oh, they're disgusting creatures. But how do you know that energy is not one of the most powerful energies you can have just by what you perceive the rat to be? Aside from the programming of them being disgusting and, dirty creatures, think about it though. They're actually, they're a very strong creature. The American bald eagle is the symbol of the United States. Why do they use that? Symbolically, they're empowered. Because the United States kicks ass. You know what I'm saying? But everything outside of you is a tool. Trees, people, places, things. If I want to be a tree, I could be a tree. I'll be as grounded as, because this is all a test, but it's about how you can stand your ground. You get what I'm saying? And your emotions will be tested, because I've noticed that little by little your emotions do get tested. Now, that whole shit you hear that, you know, your life has to be destroyed for you to build something new, all that is still programming. You could control everything from exactly where you're sitting at right now, in the position you're in. You can control all that just by changing your perception about how things are happening. You change it, because when you change, things change outside of you. So, you know, if you really want to look at it, you put yourself in this uncomfortable situation. This is a very important time in history. Recognize your mystery. You're here to transmute and transform everything here. Think about this. There's missing links in history, right? People say, oh, there's missing civilizations here, missing. How do you know that those times, okay, there weren't a certain amount of people? And this may sound really far out, but that's the thing. It sounds so far out that you can't believe it. And sometimes seeing and believing, it's believing is seen. How do you know those people didn't ascend beyond this realm so much so that even in the physicality they disappeared? And then there had to be a cover-up of that. How do you know that didn't happen? Because, see, history is altered, but there's also missing gaps in history as to what really happened. So people may have a group of people. Look at the technology, how it was back then. See, there was people who I'm sure used the organic technology to build pyramids, to build these megaliths and monoliths. They used frequency, energy, and vibration. Because what technology do we have now? Bulldozers, all these heavy construction machinery. You can't replicate another pyramid. You can't replicate using these megaliths and monoliths, or cutting things to such a laser precision on certain you know, these historical monuments that are basically so cut, they look like they were laser cut and molded a certain way. You get what I'm saying? Like, things are so perfectly done, but because it was done authentic, they were authentic and official, so it can't be replicated. See, it's so official and authentic, it can't be replicated. If you are a replica, or you're regurgitating information, or you're just a copycat, then you're leaving yourself open to being copied off of, because you're not authentic. So what happens? They can't replicate that, so they had to hide it. And what happens is that they want the awareness to be on the technology that would actually disempower you, right? Because technology ain't bad, but it's about how you use it. So now we want to use this microchip for convenience purposes, because you can't take out your ID out of your pocket. It's just easier to get scanned, or you don't want to take a credit card out, and all that is bullshit, like I mentioned in my previous video. Because your ID is not even really your ID. What is that shit? You know what I'm saying? But you created everything out here to come to a realization of the power. You see, there has to be duality. But you have to realize that aside from the duality is there, the opposition is there. But through the opposition and the weakness that you put yourself in is where you recognize and realize your real empowered godly state. So what happens now? So they're creating, they're pushing their agenda, right? But you're going along with it, because there's people who actually say, and they think they're really smart, but I'm telling you, man, they say, well, the way we're going and the direction that we're actually going in, it's going to come to a point where we're going to have to all get microchipped anyway. So you're seeing the end game as the opposition already being in control. Where in actuality, if you put yourself in the empowered driver's seat right now, know that you can change that. And don't think that it's going to take the collective to be on the same page as you. Just you doing it and changing your perception from thinking that you're just a drop of water in the ocean and actually be the ocean. The change will happen. But because you believe in yourself, it comes down to faith. This is all going to be coming down to faith. Your faith is externalized in only religion. That's the thing. If you put your faith in yourself, okay, and I'm talking about wholeheartedly, with all you got. Because listen, I've been manifesting things lately, and I've noticed that there's certain things, but it's not you can't just sit there and just, you know, you have to have a desire, but an emotion behind it, where it's coming from a pure space. See what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to make raised beds, okay? And then the first thing I thought about was like, man, damn, I want to make raised beds, but it's going to take a lot of soil to do that. How much am I going to have to spend in soil? But then in my mind, I'm like, you know what, man, I'll figure that out later. But I was already making the raised beds. And believe it or not, my brother-in-law, okay, happened to call me. I didn't make the raised beds yet, but I already had it in my mind that I wanted raised beds. You know what I'm saying? Because the raised beds came after when I had the soil. But the thing is that in my mind, I wanted raised beds. So I said, it's going to happen. Let me figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I didn't sit there. I'm not going to tell you I sat there day and night doing it, but I had the desire. But I remember I put in emotion. I was walking the garden. I was kind of looking at things. And man, my brother-in-law happened to buy a boatload of fucking soil. And he called me and asked me, hey, do you need soil? Because I got so much, I don't even know what to do with it. And he got so much soil, he bought, like, literally, I think it cost him like $250 or $300 for like a big, I'm talking about a lot of soil, man. I've never seen so much soil. It's like a mountain of soil. So he filled up all his raised beds and he still had a boatload of soil left over. So what happened? I said, yeah, of course I need soil. I went over there and I got all the soil I need to fill up all my raised beds. And he still has a lot of soil left over. But here's the thing. It's not like I went looking for the soil. He called me and said, do you need soil? You get what I'm saying? There's other things that I wanted, like such as wood chips. And believe it or not, I paid $5 and I filled up my Jeep full of wood chips. Do you know how that happened? There happened to be no more wood chips. But the cashier told me, you know what? There's a few broken bags out there. Let me see if I can give you a good price for all of them. Believe it or not, I paid $5 and I filled this whole thing up with wood chips. And I was able to fill up everything that I needed. But I didn't physically say, I'm going to go look for this and I'm going to find it. No, it's going to happen, and it'll happen perfectly at the time it needs to happen. So I've noticed that I've been manifesting certain things, and I let my girl know that. I'm like, man, but then here's the thing though. You got to be aware. This is the awareness part. I mentioned this in the first video, self-awareness and awareness of the things. Because if you're not in the appreciation state, when you recognize, because it's a realization and a recognition of what's going on. If you recognize that you manifested these things and they didn't just happen, you're going to get more because you put out the vibration that you are in appreciation. You have to realize that you have to be very, very conscious of the vibration you are putting out. People think that you're only getting tracked by just microchips. You're not getting tracked by microchips only. Do you know that your fear is also something that you emit out and you're being tracked by the emotions that you put out? You get what I'm saying? Like, let's say if I'm going to go, and I'm not saying that for anybody to do this, but let's say if I'm going to go to Walmart and I'm going to steal something, okay? Do you know how petrified people, they take it, they're all scared, and then they walk out and they feel like they're getting followed, and you know what I'm saying? Do you know you're emitting a frequency of fear? It happens in the wild where animals emit a certain hormone, and you got the predators that can smell that from a mile away. You know what I'm saying? So it's about, you have to listen, you emit a frequency just by your emotion. Okay? But think about this. This is why it's important to be in that neutral 0 point God mode. Because when you're in bliss, you're going to have the opposition of something to put you in test you, to put you in a lower vibration. But it's about how you stand your ground. Now, when you are fearful, okay, you're attracting more of that. So if you're walking out of a place, you say, that's why if you're going to engage in something or buy into it, like engage, you know, like let's say if I'm gonna go to Walmart and I'm planning to steal something, or if I'm going somewhere to plan to steal something, but I'm in such a fearful state, you will probably attract a bad scenario for you to get caught because you're emitting so much of that pheromone coming out of you. Okay. And it's something that can be that can be tracked. That's why it's important to control your emotions and not let them take over. This is how spiritually people get attacked, because you are an open, you leave your tracking device on. See, here's the thing. In this moment in time, it's very important to know how to be stealth. All right? Be in stealth mode. You have to know that you can bring your vibration, be a bit, shine bright, but you also got to know how to be in stealth mode. I've noticed that. Because sometimes when you're too blissful, okay, there's going to be something that may happen. Like you may be so happy and then all of a sudden somebody cuts you off and almost makes you crash. And the fact that you had, let's say, your kid in the car or whatnot, now you flip out and they just brought your emotions completely down. But you don't realize that that's something that was put there on purpose for a reason. Everything has a purpose. So you got to know how to kind of swim and maneuver your way around this shit. Okay? And when you're in a low vibrational state, know that it is stemming from somewhere. What is it? Get to the root of it. And then you see, this is the thing. If you know where it's stemming from, you get to the root of it and you can pull it out by the roots, and then you change the channel. As easy as just thinking about it and just changing the channel. Okay? Start to sing. Do you know that when you sing, okay, it actually strengthens the muscles in your throat? And then you can actually breathe better at night. There's a lot of people who have problems breathing at night, or they'll start to snore, they get sleep apnea. And it's happened to me one time when I was meditating. My body went to sleep so much that my over here, it kind of goes like this. Look, it kind of goes back like that. So that happened. I don't snore at night, but I noticed it. I noticed it at the moment that was one of the times when I was fasting, because I wasn't chewing and all this kind of, and this is why sometimes when you go on a long fast and then you start to eat again, you also notice that your jaw gets tired. So it's important to keep these muscles active. Sing, you know what I'm saying? Or hum, or do whatever you want to do. But when you do that, you strengthen these muscles, and you can actually control that from, you know, from you restricting your breathing at night. So you could do that as an exercise for your throat muscles. You could look this up. So there's a lot of different things you could do to strengthen yourself up. That's why they say the knowledge is power. But then the knowledge, once you put it into practice, becomes an experience. So I've noticed that as I'm gardening, sometimes I hum, sometimes I'm singing too, or sometimes I talk to your plants. You know what I'm saying? You talk to your plants, and believe it or not, all my plants have an energy signature to them. All of them serve a purpose here. Okay? So see, in my world, all my plants are actual beings. And they're protecting my environment. See, right in front, I have a blueberry vine, but I also got my favorite character, Darth Vader. I'll show it to you right now so you can see what I'm talking about. See, check this out. All right? Let somebody come by. Let somebody come over here, bro. See this? See this? All right? I got the orgonite right here. And you guys can get creative with it. All right, check this out. There's a cannon right here pointing right at whoever comes in, because this is the entrance right here. See what I'm saying? I got Crush Station right here, okay? But check out those claws. Got another orgonite right here. Copper wire facing toward the sunset, okay? And then this is the blueberry vine, which is giving me blueberries all over. See this? Okay, look at that. Look. So these are new canes down here. But these are the older ones. These are the ones that give me blackberries. I got a ton of blackberries back there, but I'm not going to make this video a gardening video, because I got somebody who's going to be working on that for me to edit the video so it's not too long. But so yeah, and there's people who say, listen, I'm a realist. So they see everything out here and say, I'm a realist. I see what's going on and I see where things are heading, right? But then you're not a realist. You're a theorist. Nothing out here that's happening is happening. It's if you say you're a realist and you believe that this is happening out here and this is the direction we're going in, that's where you're being steered. You're mind controlled. Because if you take the wheel of your mind and stand your ground, things will change out here. Doesn't need a collective effort. I mean, there's a big, it makes a big difference if the collective changes. Because the more you empower others, you do empower yourself. Okay? You have to understand that I can make you believe things that, you have to be conscious of what you're listening to. What are you hearing? Is it helping you? Is it empowering you? Or is it disempowering you? How does it make you feel? These sensors are there for a reason. Use these sensors. You hear? That's where censorship comes in, because they're exercising their sensors. If they listen to you speaking about them and you have no idea what you're talking about, you don't own that information. That's not your truth. So you will get banned. They might cut your channel out. You don't even own YouTube. Again, you created all this. It's about using it. What do I use YouTube for? I'm using YouTube to spread a message of empowerment for me and for you. But don't forget, these videos ain't for you. They're for me. But then again, look what I just said. They're not for you. They're for me. These are my journals. But then who is me? Me is still you. And you is I. You get what I'm saying? So you can listen to that and say, you know what? He's saying that they're not for me, they're for him. But if somebody knows how to decode, they know that I is really them too. So these are my journals. But it may digest well with some and not with others. You get what I'm saying? So keep your mind strong. Keep it clean. Be a guard dog to what's going in. Awareness and consciousness is knowing what's coming in and what's going out. What are you projecting out or what you're emitting out based on what you're putting in. But it all starts from you being the observer of what is coming in. The 0 point. How do we know this is not the 0 point? This realm that we're in. This is the holding ground, purgatory, or let's say. For us to either go into the godly modes or for us to go back and de-evolve. If you believe in evolution, if you believe in, because there's people who are very, very, they have to have a scientific proof, or they have to have proof. Or if you are spiritual, then you'll know it comes from a divine space. But you also got to learn how to integrate the two, because you can't just be one or the other here. This is the duality matrix. So you got to use common sense. You got to use logic, but you also got to combine it. You can't be too logic either. You know what I'm saying? Because I've noticed that. When you're too logic, and here's the thing, this is how I know that this works, because I know that everything works. See, there's, like I mentioned in previous videos, you got flat earth theories and models that they present and looks great, round earth models, but then don't forget, the source of the one that's presenting that information, believe in their information